operation. I'm going to go over what a multi-store setup in Interchange 5 looks like. So, first of all, what is multi-store? When I was doing research on this, I wasn't quite sure what to call it to start with. I knew what I have, and I know what our customers do, but I've heard things like multi-tenant, multi-store, multi-shop, multi-thing. So I don't think I ever found a definitive one that actually defines it, but this is what I'll be using for multi-store. Basically, in general, it's one Interchange daemon supporting multiple sites. For it to be, you can have that run without it classifying as a multi-store because Interchange, of course, can support multiple catalogs out of the box, and it'll just treat each of them as a different website. What makes it a multi-store is the ability to have the shared information between the different sites, may it be images, configuration, different pricing or logic between the sites, and each site probably having a different look and feel. The different look and feel, of course, is up to the customer, whether or not it's drastically different from the other ones, or whether or not it's just a simple color change between this site and that site with a different logo. There's 4 different areas that we normally use to set this up. The first area is the Apache area where you have, of course, different HT docs for each different site, possibly rewrite rules that control what the URLs look like different from one from the next. In that case, a lot of these places will have like their original site may be a wholesale site where they just have their resellers come and buy stuff, so it's not really that pretty. They don't care what the URLs look like because it's a wholesale site. But when they decide to open a retail site that just offers a certain subset of their products, well then that's the one they want to have nice SEO looking URLs. They want to make sure that it's got nice JavaScript and stuff to support a better user interface. The Interchange Catalog itself, there's certain things that will set up, or I'll just show you how we set things up so that you can easily share information amongst multiple catalogs. The Interchange Global space. This is one where it just depends on how you normally interact with Interchange. Some people keep everything at a catalog level, some people move things more into global space and do global Perl modules and stuff like that. I'll go over that, and then of course there's the database layer as well. For our normal installations, because we use camps, this is our standard kind of layout when we have a customer who is using a multi-store configuration. So we have the user itself, and then we have a live directory, which is akin to camp whatever. And then just the normal layout. So they have a bin directory, they have a catalog store under each of those. It's normally however many sites they have, with a shared directory, standard CGI bin, HT docs, and then some other directories in there. The master images directory is one where if you have a set of products that you're selling across all of the different sites, and you use the same image on all of them, instead of having 3 different copies of the same product, you can just basically have the image and master images, and then do symlinks, and to allow you to basically, when they change the packaging of the product, you just take one picture, put it in the spot, and all of the sites update at once. Same thing with shared HTML. In this particular case, this customer normally has pop-ups and informational things that are in HTML, in HTDocs that they use, and so we have those also shared amongst the sites. And then of course there's a normal Interchange directory with the actual daemon in it and the base code. So at the category level, this is normally what it looks like when we set things up. We take advantage of symlinks and relative paths to be able to link to certain things. In this case, we have a CAPTCHA directory, which Site 1 has CAPTCHA set up on their newsletter. So we symlink there to allow us to them to be able to, I don't remember why that's symlink, to be honest. Then under the include directory, there's the user management particular widget, which is symlinked to the shared directory. Pages, the fly page is exactly the same on all the sites. And then under products, we also have a shared variable directory file. The shared variable file has things like API keys and other things that are unique or not unique, or that are shared amongst all three of the sites. And then you can see the normal structure under there for where the files actually reside. This took me a while to figure out, so I figured I'd share it. To set up a shared variable database, you have to make sure to define it in the catalog itself. Other than that, Interchange doesn't know it exists. So I'm going really fast. The Interchange global adjustments, these are the ones that are give and take. It just depends on how you normally do it. If you normally live in global space, then you can set up your own area for where your custom user tags, your custom action maps, any form actions, any of those things are going to live that will be shared amongst all the different sites. Some people, you know, like we at Endpoint, we normally have a custom directory under Interchange, and we also have we'll create a lib directory, and under there we have all of our Perl modules that live there. That gives us the ability to have user tags simply point to a Perl module, so we get outside of safe because we're in global space, so and we can use external Perl modules, and it just makes the development a lot easier. And then you can also run it through test suites. Question? Yes, sir.
Question. You said you use Perl modules and having tests with how do you deal with the interchange variables in this modules and testing?
I don't know. I haven't actually done it. Spencer Christensen uses Selenium, I think is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's used Selenium for interchange testing. It also does browser-based testing too. He uses it with a other thing called, dang it, I think it's Space Labs. I have an email about it in my inbox that I can get to you. But Selenium is a Python-based thing, so I think mainly he has done front-end UI testing. I don't know if he's ever tried to do anything, or anybody at Endpoint has ever tried to do anything like, you know, unit test in the kind of like normal space. So.
So if you had like an interchange tag, say user tag, and you could take the code and just create it as a subroutine inside your, so if you use something like TestMore or Perl, and have that in your test file, and then you can test on that, you know, the logic of that user tag.
Right, but what Stefan was getting at is you can't use interchange variables in that. You would have to define them in either in the module itself. So you couldn't use something like Scratch variables or CGI variables or anything along those lines. You know, all the normal interchange namespace that we use to keep track of things, or even the, what is it, : config to get to the config variables in either interchange or the catalog level.
It's not probably a great test, but like for example, for our unit test, the test operations that we do on the shopping cart, and I'll do something like : men, : items equals, and then just list out the cart. Like it use that same kind of syntax that interchange uses internally, or something like that. It's probably not the best kind of test, but it's
probably not, but it's something better than what comes with, which is 0. So, yes, sir.
If you go back to the tree structure.
Yes, this one or the one before?
That one.
Okay.
So, for example, I see here under site 1, 5-page HTML, you have a link to the shared pages. If you replace that with an actual file, it's like a 5-page off the site 1, or you can't do that.
Oh, no, you definitely can.
So
You know, if you have 5 different sites and one of them is just so different, one fly page is just so different it doesn't fit into the mold,
So basically a layer.
yeah, then you could definitely just not have the symlink and just have a standard flypage.html, and Interchange will serve that one up instead. So it does give you the flexibility of, it doesn't force you that everything has to be shared. In our standard setup for this normal, you know, like the order, everything in /ord is normally totally different, so those aren't normally shared. So yeah, you can pick and choose what you want to share and what you don't. With this particular customer that I kind of based this off of, we started with nothing being shared, and then as they started to get their designs in line and everything, that's when we got to a point where we were like, well, look, we even had a few instances where I would change it on one site, and then forget to change it on the other, and then it went live, and she was like, well, it works on this one, but it doesn't work on this one, and that's when we got to the point of like, okay, look, this is silly, we just need to do that.
So, can I say something about this? I mean, if you do, there is some kind of interchange directive, I think it might be called page DIR or something like that.
Templet or
Templet or whatever it is. So what we do is we just say that, you know. That way, if we have a site like this, and we have a file called fly page that just lives in whatever template dir is, then we don't even have to make the symlink when we're setting up a new site, because it's just gonna find this default fly page anyway. And then if we wanna make a fly page that's special or customized, all we have to do is place it in there in your site here, like site pages, fly page. Then you don't even have to do the linking or anything, but it's gonna find a default set of pages, without even having to set up the symbols.
Okay.
Which I find more convenient.
Simply dir, it's a global configuration variable.
Right.
You know
So
where
you
it
can set
is.
it in your interchange.
We'll basically call a page and be like, well, this catalog doesn't have that page, but it's in here somewhere.
Yeah.
And it goes and finds it and delivers that instead, without having,
It's a catalog directive, it's not a global directive, it's a catalog.
whatever it is, but the goal, I'm so interested in this multi-site setup, because this is what we do, and, less is so much more. Like, I want to do nothing inside the catalog when a site comes up. I don't want to make a symlink or anything. I want it to be ready just to go, but then have that ability to override where you need to customize. Sorry. I'll be quiet. I'm supposed to be a non-presenter.
On the unit test question, our solution's generally been to never include interchange globals within our module code. And that way, if we need to access interchange-specific things, we do them through subroutines that we can stub out and mock for our tests.
Okay.
So,
Do you know somebody we have that has a test suite?
Fragrance.
Who?
I think they've abandoned.
Oh, Fragrance,
I think
that's
they've
right.
probably abandoned that by now for the most part, but that's our most extensive setup.
That's right, I forgot we did that.
And there's one other that has somewhat, CityPass has unit testing for order processing.
Ah, okay.
So there's, we can create, we get a dump of a certain order condition, we can add that to our test bed, and then there's a unit test that zips through that, because we've separated that out from classic order routing, and now it's all done with custom modules where we can just drop in the conditions of the order and confirm that everything works.
Cool. Database setup strategies. Just like Perl, there's no right way to do it. We've done this from the more complicated directory, or the more complicated way of doing it, which is using Postgres to basically determine what users are allowed to see based on who they log in as. This is for one particular customer we have, which last time I looked has like 10 or 12 different sites running off of one
Maybe more
interchange
than that.
daemon.
Over 30.
Oh, okay, more than 30. And the way that works is basically we use the Postgres user and the ownership along with the rules layer in Postgres to be able to be able to maintain, allow them to only see what relevant information they need to see. This particular client has a master login in which when they log in as that, they can see everything. But each individual store has its own username, and when they connect, they can only see information for that relative store. This includes order information, product information, categories, all that fun kind of stuff. We also have set up things where they actually, each individual catalog or each individual site shares databases tables by using Interchange's default functionality to allow you to specify a different DSN per table. So they have a master database which has all of the standard interchange tables plus any other ones that they need. And then each of the sub-sites or other sites will have a small subset of tables that they need for, like, in this case, the order information is separated. They didn't want it all in one table. They wanted it separated so each site has their own order information, and certain ones are pricing information and such like that. So when they go to pull product information, they actually connect to the main database to pull their product information. But when they're logging an order or checking for an affiliate or other such things, then they actually use the database assigned to them. Then there's the custom views, which is the same basic thing as using the different databases, but it's just a bit farther step. The customer that uses the shared database tables is on MySQL, and we still don't fully trust the views in that. So we keep them on that, but we do have another customer who is doing this that we just have basically custom views for each different store, so that when they log in and search for products, that they see only their products. So that's it. Any other questions?